Let me talk a little bit about our current political system, democracy. Democracy is, we have spun it to mean something that's valuable for society, but in reality, the Founding Fathers abhorred the word democracy. The thought that 51% of a nation could dictate to the other 49% of the people how they were supposed to live their lives was totally abhorrent. They didn't want that at all. They tried to give us a constitutional republic, which is a governmental system where 99% of the people can't dictate to 1% of the people how they're to live their lives. That's freedom. That's what they tried to give us. But the money changers manipulated that very soon, very early. We have to get away from the money changers. We have to understand that that is the evil that is creating all the war and all the injustice within our society. We have to be able to do that. We have to understand that if we make money only to represent things of value, there is no inflation, so local communities can make the money they want to teach their children, take care of their elderly. That's another thing. The way we treat our veterans is absolutely insane. I mean, we keep cutting the veterans' budget every year. We cut the VA budget every year, and every year we increase the size of our army and increase the size of our wounded and mentally disturbed boys that we send over to slaughter innocent people. This insanity has to stop. It has to stop, and the only way it will ever stop is by divorcing ourselves from the current money creation system. Yeah, this means that some people are going to lose their fabulous incomes. I don't care about those people. I care about the 80% of the people in the United States who don't even bother to vote because they feel so disenfranchised. The 20% of the people that do bother to vote are the people with the empowered jobs, as Michael Albert would say. People who are in the political system, who are voting for their president, who are rallying and taking the attention of the media. That's less than 20% of the population of the country. The media doesn't seem to care about the other 80% that aren't going to vote anyway because they know their vote doesn't mean anything. They understand that politics and the two-party system is just a way to fool people into believing they have choice. They have no choice. Those politicians have owners. They do things for themselves and for the people who got them into office. They don't do anything for us. They don't want to do anything for us. They don't care about us at all. And we have got to stop that system. Our children are now going to be slaves for the rest of their lives. They keep creating debt through war, and then that debt they're going to pass on to us and say, now we owe it. That's insane. We've got to stand up and say, there is no debt. There is no such thing as debt. On Inauguration Day, for whatever transition we finally get to go through, if you are in possession of something, you own it. You don't owe anybody anything for it. We have to understand that we created this wealth with our ingenuity and our natural resources. No debt created this money. They've convinced us that now we owe them for all of this wealth that we've produced. That's insane. We don't owe them anything. So on Inauguration Day, there is no more debt. Sorry, guys. Whatever you think you're owed, you're not owed. If you have a home and you're living in it, then you own it. You don't owe a mortgage. If you have a car and you're driving it, you own it. You don't owe any car payments. We're going to turn this world upside down and make it live the way it should. Now, if there are people out there who have just cause for feeling that because there is no debt anymore, they're losing their life savings, well, of course, we're going to be fair. We're not going to do this to the detriment of anybody. What this is all about is being fair and just and equitable. So we're not going to do this to hurt anybody. But we are going to do this. We are going to transfer over and decide there is no debt. If we don't do that, when my generation passes on, the rest of these generations are going to be slaves, literal slaves. We can't allow that to happen. I mean, this is just a money control situation that they've created, and it's just for controlling the population, and they don't care about us at all. We have got to create money only to represent things of value and only transparently. If we do that, we end war, we end injustice, and we end inflation. Nice ancillary benefit to going to a value-based money creation system. Folks, I don't know. I think that's all I have to say. I'm trying to help my children's children's children, and I have them. We need to stop this madness. We need to stop this madness. I love you all. In Lak'ech. Namaste. Now I'm going to recite some sites that you should see if you really want to understand what's happening in your world. TrueWorldHistory.info is a website that now contains over 300 documentaries. Documentaries are little short videos that were made by people who found something wrong in the society, took it to the press and tried to get other people to be aware of it. Got nowhere in the press. They won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Many people at that point back off. They tried and didn't get it done. Some people are so passionate about what they have found that they do their own research. They put their own money into it. They travel around and get the evidence and the information to really support what they have found. And then they stand in front of a camera, because you can do that nowadays, and they make a documentary that explains exactly what's happening. Pat Peterson made a great video called Who Controls Our Children? And it lists in chronological order the steps that have been taken by the federal government since it got involved in our children's education to dumb them down, to destroy cognitive thought. This is a reality. When I was a child 50 years ago, the United States graduated more engineers and more scientists than any country in the world. We are now 17th in the world. And every year, the IQ of this country slips a couple of points. That's not just something that just happened. That's by design. The people who are in charge of us don't want us to be smart. They don't want us to figure out how they're manipulating our lives. They don't want that at all. So we have got to take this power of money creation away from them and give it back to the people. We're never going to live out and as free people as long as we allow this current money creation system to persist. We'll never be free. We will constantly lose more and more and more and more of our freedoms until we are total slaves. I cannot allow that to happen to my children. I cannot do that. We need to change this system. Please help.